Good evening. Welcome to the One Fish, Two Fish, Red Fish, Blue Fish podcast. Today's subject, Blackfish. Over the course of SeaWorld's 6-decade existence, 3 individuals have been killed by telecom, one of the performing orcas, and many others fatally wounded. Now, authorities question whether these giant animals should even be allowed in the parks and risk further fatalities. To help us with this investigation, attorney Brian Eustace. Thank you for having me. I'm an avid listener of the show. In 1983, Tilcum, the orca involved in many of the incidents, was captured off the coast of Iceland after SeaWorld was told not to hunt in Washington anymore. Tilcum was only 2 years old. Most of the orcas have been born in captivity, offspring of Tilcum. SeaWorld hasn't captured any orcas in the wild since, but that doesn't mean that they should stay in captivity, or that the doings of these prior should be ignored. A documentary was made on this matter in 2013, entitled Blackfish. Before the telling of the tragic events, the film makes sure that the audience knows full well the impact that the orcas can have on trainers' lives through interviews and heartfelt personal experiences. And this makes it all the more heartbreaking when the telling of the tragic events gets underway. Exactly. A perfect example of pathos. In early 2010, Don Brancheau was eaten by telecom during one of the shows. The Occupational Safety and Health Administration, OSHA, then proceeded to sue SeaWorld. I was one of the attorneys from OSHA who helped sue SeaWorld. Therefore, I do not think that orcas should be in captivity. In 1970, they used boats and helicopters to detect where the orcas were, and used bombs and stretchers to get the massive animals onto dry land. When they found mothers with babies, they would only take the babies because of shipping costs. It's interesting you say that, because in the letter of response to the documentary, SeaWorld claims that they don't separate babies from the mothers. That's not the only thing SeaWorld tries to cover up. At the end of a hunt, the dead orcas would be cut open, filled with rocks, and sink to the bottom of the ocean in hopes of no one finding out. It was illegal. SeaWorld doesn't just do illegal things, they also do animal rescues. While some animals can be free to launch performance-worthy, animals like dolphins, whales, and sea lions, who can be forced to perform tricks for food, have to stay. People enjoy their shows, but not all of them take into consideration what challenges had to be endured to make that show a reality. And the reality was that it took a tragedy for this to be recognized. The 2010 lawsuit wasn't the first time someone was killed by an orca, though. In 1991, Kelsey-born Lasso Balance fell into the pool and was pulled under by an orca. No lawsuits were made against this, so it was made largely unknown or covered up. SeaWorld claims that the cause for this death was that she accidentally drowned, while eyewitnesses say that she was clearly pulled under by the orca. Part of the reason the orcas can be so hostile sometimes is because of food deprivation and keeping them basically immobile in a small pool when they aren't in a show. The length and width dimensions of this small pool aren't much bigger than the orca itself, so they can just move in the vertical space, or lack thereof. Another excellent example of pathos. In the wild, these giant animals have plenty of space to roam and get away from predators. In these small pools, orcas cannot get away from predators, and they do indeed have predators, because all of the orcas in the select park are not from the same family, unlike SeaWorld falsely claims. About half the orcas have the same genes of Telecom, the orca who was responsible for many of the AD incidents. They didn't get rid of him, however, because he was the primary breeder and worth millions of dollars, but it can cause havoc to breed from aggressive animals. Orcas are sociable creatures with big families in the wild. When you capture select ones, they are deprived. There's no record of orcas killing humans in the wild. This builds on the logical appeal of the film and helps give the background so people understand the lives of the animals better. Scientists have researched the orca's brain and how it works, and this develops ethos in the film. They have a unique language, and a part of the brain humans don't have, which allows them to socialize better and be more connected. But you can't be connected when the orcas in the poker wall from different families and social structures. The orcas are even moved to different parts in the world, further diversifying their heritage. Orcas live equivalent to human lifespans in the wild, but in captivity at SeaWorld, they only live 25 to 35 years, which the company claims to be how long they live in the wild. They also say that they live longer at SeaWorld because they are in such good care. Not the best example of ethos or logos. Swimming with orcas, especially in this state of depravity, is dangerous because you can't entirely predict the outcome of what they will do or how they will react. There has been a lot of backlash after this documentary was released and hate towards SeaWorld due to their animal cruelty. People claim the film was propaganda and primarily one-sided. Do you think the documentary is just that? Propaganda? Well, sort of. It does lean towards the side that orca should not be in captivity, and it fails to mention many of the positives. I do think the negatives outweigh the positives, though. And that's about all the time we have, Mr. Eustace. It's been a pleasure having you on the show. Would you look at the time? I have a case with Snoopy in 5 minutes. Have a good night, folks.